What's up, St. Louis? It's your host, Luke Farrell of the STL Bucket List Show. The STL Bucket List Show is driven by Bomarito Automotive Group. Bomarito is Missouri's #1 car dealership with over 20 locations, so I guarantee that there's one in your neighborhood. Since the 1970s, Bomarito has sold over 1 million cars, and John and the entire team made us feel completely comfortable when we picked up our new vehicle recently for the family. So I can't thank the Bomarito team enough for driving this episode forward, and enjoy the show.
Hey St. Louis, Birch Tree Recovery is the newest outpatient mental health and substance use recovery resource in St. Louis. Birch Tree is truly doing it differently. Our science-based humanistic approach, along with a talented team of clinical professionals, will ensure that your time with us is life-changing. Birch Tree's approach to treatment is rooted in research and data. We reject any judgment and shame that may exist and challenge you to live the life you deserve, free of labels and stigma. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, call us. We can help.
If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune into the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
St. Louis, we're back with episode 149 of the STL Bucket List Show. We couldn't thank you guys enough. This is our first episode of the new year and officially our third year recording the podcast. We highlight the people, places, and events that make St. Louis special. We couldn't do that without each and every one of you listening every single week. Our show has grown. We've made so many connections with the city through this podcast, and we record it every week. And we're passionate and we're consistent about putting a new episode out with St. Louis entrepreneurs, St. Louis business owners, business movers and shakers, and really just people doing great stuff for our city. We couldn't do this show without our incredible partners like Bomarito Automotive Group, Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis, Four Hands Brewing Company, Birch Tree Recovery, and the many more that help us throughout the year to keep producing an amazing show. Of course, our friends over at Half Coast Studios. But without further ado, it is the holiday times in St. Louis. We just got off Christmas. We had the holidays. We got people in town. We know a lot of people are getting engaged around this time of year. So we brought in an expert in the space, a legend in the bride space, as many would say. We have Carol Pope from Bride St. Louis. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Lucas. I am so super excited about being here today.
I know.
And I just want to say thank you. And I'm excited to share the story about how we can help brides and vendors just have a great, epic 2025 year and have put together a wedding that's beyond their imagination and do it correctly.
Exactly. There's so many do's and don'ts when it comes to weddings. So I've been married now for 2 years. We got married, and I'm going to be honest, my wife planned the whole thing. She's amazing at that type of stuff. She's a teacher, so she had spreadsheets, everything's organized. We had the big wedding book, but even then it's overwhelming with the amount of things that we have to do, the cost that goes into all these things. And sometimes if you don't do your research, you end up either overspending, not getting things done correctly, because then that day comes, you don't have time to look back at your wedding book. You're on to the next thing. So, Carol, before we get started, I want to hear your journey because it's pretty interesting. You've worked in the wedding industry. You've been in the industry for how long? What things have you done, and what led you to starting Bride St. Louis?
Thank you. I am delighted to share that story because it's a story that's near and dear to my heart, to be quite honest. And I have a true passion for the wedding industry. It is such a joy to work with brides and young couples. And how it started was quite accidental, to be quite honest. I had over 20 years in real estate running a brokerage. I was thinking about retiring, and my son was saying, well, I'm going to make a change too. I want to get away from corporate graphics and photography and maybe shoot weddings. Would you help me?
Yeah.
And I love photography. And I thought, well, why not? That sounds like fun. And, we'll see where it goes for a year or two. And that's how it started. So
And what year was that?
that was 2012.
Okay.
And I knew nothing about weddings, absolutely nothing about weddings.
Mhm.
So did a lot of reading, a lot of studying. And I learned the first thing is get involved in wedding shows. Everybody there is a potential client.
Mhm.
Everybody there is going to be getting married. So we booked wedding shows, spent a fortune,
Mhm.
but we booked 33 weddings.
Right.
Okay, that's amazing amount of
Good
weddings.
return.
Oh,
Yeah.
very, very, but we spent a fortune. And I found that in talking with other vendors that many of them could not afford that kind of price on a regular basis. And as we started shooting these weddings we booked, I was mainly a second photographer, so I got to see a lot of the background happenings that I saw the stress and the planning and the problems that so many couples had no idea of how to plan a wedding. So anyway, those two things kind of came together, and after about 200 weddings, I thought, I can do something about this. Um, so my mission from the very beginning was to be able to offer a means for vendors to provide affordable marketing, and most importantly, to help educate couples. What do we do? How do we start? How to avoid a situation where you're totally in debt after the wedding. That's not a way to start a wedding.
Mhm.
Um, so that we've stayed true to that mission for all 14 years, and it will continue to this day. One of the things that we firmly believe in about is the educational part. So we do seminars. No other show does something like this. When you come to our show in January, we have 10 seminars starting with the very basic wedding planning 101. Uh, Girls get their rings, they're excited. The first thing they want to do is run out and buy a dress. Okay, that's what they've been dreaming about all their years growing up. So that's not necessarily the best thing to do. Um, so that's why wedding planning 101, creating a budget, knowing where your money's going to come from, and then knowing what you want as a couple.
Mhm.
It's not her wedding, it's not his wedding, it's your wedding together.
Mhm.
And there's some give and take. So they need to start with that.
Yeah.
And from that, everything else follows. So these seminars on how to hire a vendor, how to hire your catering company, how to find a venue, how to compare venues, that's
Yeah.
another whole story in itself.
Mhm.
Um, are all things, after all, a wedding is probably the biggest party
Mhm.
that you will ever plan.
Yeah.
And
It
it's probably gonna be the most expensive party that you've ever planned.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of horror stories I could share, but, we're gonna try to avoid those.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's an amazing story that you came from, obviously, the real estate world and then decided to start this business with your son. Now, is he still in that industry or is he moved on to a different
He
industry?
still does his own thing,
Yeah.
but, he is involved somewhat, in the photography yet
Yeah.
and in running a venue,
Yeah.
and, does offer a great hand when I need him.
Yeah.
But now I have a team of about 10 to 12 people,
Wow.
and that is what amazes me because we've grown into such a large company. We have a website with over 12,000 followers.
Yeah.
We have any one month about 3,000 brides who will sign into our Facebook.
Mhm.
We provide a lot of information all year long for brides.
Yeah.
We just did an article, a blog post on how to compare photo booths. I mean, here's a trend that has exploded over the last couple years.
Yeah.
There's 360 booths, and there's
Mhm.
digital booths, and there's the old fashioned booths. I mean, so many choices.
Yeah.
So they can sign in and get some guidance,
Yeah.
the pros and
Your guys'
cons.
blog's amazing. I
Oh
mean, you
my
guys have it
gosh.
categorized into bridal showers, engagement, mothers of the brides, tips, trends, alcohol, catering, beauty tips, bridal accessories, do's and don'ts. And, like, you guys
Exactly.
are continually putting out content. It doesn't just stop at the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the content there. Our goal is to be the one source for couples for local St. Louis area here. And we want to be the first place that they will come to,
Mhm.
because all of our vendors on our site have been vetted, and that's important because someone who's really dedicated to the industry. We won't add someone unless we know for sure who they are and the quality of the service they provide.
Right.
So that's very important because I've heard horror stories where you hire a videographer and he comes in with half the equipment that's needed to do the job.
Yeah. And, you as the bride wouldn't know because 'cause you're not a videographer either. So you just don't know
Exactly.
until or it takes we've had some recently where some of the deliverables take longer than they should, and you don't get your pictures or photos back in time, and all these different things that add up to a show. So it sounds like, whether you're at the beginning of your process or you're getting close to the end, like your guys' show can hit people where they're at,
Exactly.
those
Exactly.
last tying up those last knots at the end of the wedding. Um,
Right.
but the reason I have you on is the big, massive, epic winter expo is happening this weekend as of recording this podcast, January 4th and 5th at Logan University. That's 11 to 4 p.m. both days. Central location in the middle of the St. Louis Metro, parking, tons of things that are there, free photo booth. What can brides expect from the vendor show? So for those listening, lay out the experience of what maybe they can anticipate from entering to leaving. You know how people are; they want to know what's kind of going on. So what can me as a bride, what can I expect? Like kind of lay out the layout.
I love our 2-day show.
Yeah.
I get so excited for our brides, and our brides get so excited. They show up early to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's more than just meeting vendors. That's what's so exciting. It's an experience that every bride to be should do
Mm-hmm.
at least once, and the January show is the perfect one. That's not only do you see and touch, smell, you get inspired, things you never might have thought of for your wedding, you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then we take it a step further. We have a fashion show to die for. 50 models, brides, mothers of the brides, grooms this year, Man and Voyage Bridal and Noble Luxury Brands is going to put on a runway show to die for.
Mm-hmm.
It's one you don't want to miss. The seminars, 10 seminars over the course of 2 days, and that's why you need to buy a ticket for 2 days because there is so much going on at this show that you can't do it in 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
We have classes like a do-it-yourself bouquet bridal class where you can learn to make your own bridal bouquet. We have something really fun this year. We have a cake decorating contest. And 5 couples will be chosen from those who buy tickets by the end of have bought tickets that they will win a fabulous prize from Dinner for Two. It's a $250 skillet set. And we're gonna let the audience choose who decorated the best cake.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of experiences. The fashion show, the seminars, the cake decorating, the flower bouquet, inspiration tables all over the place. So it is an experience. Yes, there's vendors. Yes, you can meet face to face, but there's so much more than just meeting vendors.
That's great. Giving people a reason to
Uh-huh.
go out, and you guys can head over to Bride St. Louis to get more information, and then you guys can grab your tickets as well through there. Now, I kind of wanted to like see what goes into this because I think not a lot of people think that this is ran locally here in Missouri. These shows are so big and they're so grand, but it all started somewhere a lot smaller than it
Right.
did now. So
We are local. I mean, you're looking at it.
yeah,
We are all local.
yeah,
And I think that's what makes the difference because we have a vested interest in making sure that the show is what our brides are interested in.
hmm
Brides from New York and Chicago are totally different in what they want for their wedding. I
right.
mean, we don't have a coastal wedding where you're out on the beach here.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that, to be quite honest, the idea of being local is that we're here all year long for them. It's not just a one time thing. And we talk to brides, we hear what they want and what they're interested in. And so much of what we present is based on what they are interested in.
Yeah.
And that brings up our venue project. One of the biggest problems in wedding planning, and I think all you brides out there will probably who have got anybody who got married or will be getting married, finding your venue. It's a huge chore. I've seen mothers with spreadsheets a mile long trying to compare one venue to the other. So we've come out with a new venue program. We've listed all of the venues here by region.
Right.
When you go to the other big nationwide source, you probably know who I'm talking about. You say, I want a venue in Chesterfield, you'll get the entire area. You'll get the whole metropolitan area. So you'll have to search through 300 venues.
Mhm.
And so many brides know, I want to get married in St. Charles. I want to get married in my neighborhood in Jefferson County or Franklin County or out in Troy. So we broke up all of the venues into regions by different locales. So you can go specifically to that region and find all of the venues in your area.
Mhm.
And then the website connects to that venue,
Yeah.
making it first step super easy.
Right.
And then we're going to follow up this year in March with a venue tour where we're going to have listing of all of the venues will have open houses and you can just show up. You don't have to call, you don't have to make appointments, you don't have to do anything.
Mhm.
You just simply say, I want to go see this one, this one, this one, and this one.
Yeah.
And they'll all be dressed and looking great, and that can save a ton of time in planning your wedding.
Yeah, that's great. I'm looking at the tool right now on the website and just being able to flip through. I'm like, okay, Jefferson County, you have Southern Illinois, North County, South County, West County, Warren County, St. Louis City, Jefferson County, Greater St. Louis, Franklin County. I mean, you guys have a lot of venues and you even have the money signs on pricing so that they already know, hey, I'm not in that 5-star money price. Let's look at these 2 or
Right,
3
right.
so that I can save money for other things that I want. So I didn't realize when I was getting married all the different things that we had to purchase. So when I'm at your show, I'm looking at these vendors. Tell us who to expect. What are we going to see there? What kind of vendors are we going to see there? What's some of the most unique vendors that we might see? And what are some of the things that maybe people overlook when they're booking their wedding?
I would love to tell you. Of course, we're going to have the basics.
Yeah.
You're going to have your venues.
Yep.
You're going to have your photographers, your videographers. You're going to have your catering companies. And you definitely want to check those out because they usually serve food.
Yeah.
You got cake companies, cupcake companies. You got decor. You have invitation people. You have hair and makeup people coming.
Hmm.
You have uh, micro beer people
Hmm.
coming.
Yeah.
Okay. During COVID times, they were smaller shows, but we had a little bit of everything. I think one of the most unusual we had last year is that at the receptions nowadays, entertainment of your guests is very, very important. So you're going to see entertainment options that you might not have ever thought of. For example, we have the fine art watercolor painters come.
Hmm.
We had belly dancers there last year, and I
Yeah.
went to a wedding with belly dancers. It was fabulously fun.
Yeah.
So, uh, the day of the reception where you go, you dance, you do a couple funky party dances,
Right.
um, is changed. It's more personalized. So you're going to find so much options for personalization of your wedding.
Hmm.
And guest, you're going to entertain your guest.
Yeah.
It's a whole different mindset of just feeding them and letting them dance and drink.
Yeah.
Entertain them. You'll see uh, quartets.
Hmm.
Okay, a lot of people bring in quartets.
Yeah, I've seen that.
We have that at our show. So there are options for just about anything that you need.
Mm.
And of course, bridal shops, you're going to see lots of beautiful dresses. And This year, we're actually doing something different at our bridal show. This year, we're going to have the fashion show is 45 minutes of fun, and then they're gone.
Mhm.
So we're going to have a display area of mannequins from the bridal shops, and we're going to have complete wedding parties, dressed and different mannequins with dresses on, so you can take pictures. And if you see one you like, it's going to have the name of the bridal shop, and you're going to be able to locate it. You're going to be able to look at the back, look at the front, take as much time as you want, take a picture of that dress.
Mhm.
Something that's never been done here before. So, we keep adding new things that
Right.
brides have said, "Oh, I love the fashion show. It went so fast. Can you provide me some information?" We can, but this is even better because now we can leave these on display,
Mhm.
and there
That's
will
a good
be
point.
yeah, there'll be a lot of
Because a lot of them are
dresses.
trying to take pictures of people while they're walking by, and they don't maybe get the venue or
No, they
where
don't.
it's from, and
Right.
the amount. I mean, it's just so hard to track, but the amount of revenue that you're driving to these vendors is unmatched compared to some. And I'm sure you've heard the stories. Oh my gosh, I booked 35 people, or I've done this and I've done this. So, as you as a former vendor, you've worked weddings yourself. You've been at these shows as a customer or as a vendor. What does it mean to be able to support these other local vendors and sometimes, in a way, jumpstart their businesses, keep them afloat during slow times? To have this show in January and for them to get pre bookings for things that they're doing later that year, what does that mean to be able to provide that platform to those vendors?
I'm so glad you asked that question because um, I think one of the things that makes me a very, very good show producer is the fact that I've been on both sides of the table.
Yeah.
I've been a vendor and working as a vendor, and I've been on the other side as a bride at one point. So I've seen it from both sides. I've worked with the brides, so I have seen it on both sides. There are a ton of really good small solo providers, vendors, photographers, videographers, a custom dressmaker, a alteration person that can't afford a huge amount of money, but they are super service orientated. And when you go and you hire your vendor, you want to find and look at the service that's provided, the quality of the service that's provided, because that is going to really make a difference on your day. And it's also going to make a difference on your stress level. Um, there are some big companies who do very poorly on service. Um, I experienced one myself. I called a big shop on a Friday for some information. And the message I got to a bridal shop, and I won't tell you who it is, was we're busy right now. Will you please call back another time? Well, if you're a bride getting married on Saturday and you have an emergency, you don't want to get that message.
Right.
Honestly, you don't want that message.
Mhm.
So it's the service that is so very important. And it's not just only for your dress shop, but it's also for your catering company.
Mhm.
You also want a vendor who listens and doesn't just do, oh, well, this is the way we do it. You have a vision for your wedding, and that vendor needs to listen to what you're wanting for your wedding.
Mhm.
Um, that is so very important. And there are many smaller wedding professionals out there that are very, very good at what they do. They couldn't always afford the more expensive shows, but they can afford our shows, which really brings in a plethora of choices for you.
Mhm.
You can go to the and I'm not saying big companies are bad. I'm just saying look at the service that you're going to get from the company,
Right.
and consider a smaller vendor as well, because they may be able to provide you a more hands-on, more feely, touchy support all along the way.
Mhm.
And guys, some of you brides really want that or need that. Others of you, more organized, more planned, not a problem. But
Right. No, I
take a look
agree.
at the service. Take a look
I
at the
agree. The
service.
service is everything, and I mean, it's only one day, and it's we worked with a lot of small vendors, from our florist to our DJ to our photographers, and These are real people that we know, and they followed through on the stuff that they did, and they even did more than what they said they were going to do because it means more to them sometimes with some of these small vendors. But I want to ask you, I know you kind of talked about some trends, so it seems like some of the trends are like more extravagant things, different, unique things. Instagram worthy is like people like social media now, so the thing that catches people's attention. But seems like those trends are going to continue. People are spending more and more money on some of these events than they used to, even 10, 15, 20 years ago. You see the numbers sometimes, you're like, wow, that's one day.
Yeah.
But it means everything to some of these people. And it's not just the bride and groom or the couple that's getting married. It's the mom, it's the bride and the groom, the grandma. All these people want these certain things. What do you think that some of the biggest changes are going to be as we go into 2025? And a lot of the people coming to your show are booking for 26 and maybe even 27.
Oh,
Some of
yes.
these people are starting early. It didn't
Yes.
used to be like that 2, 3
Right.
years. It used to be we got married, boom, 3 months later we're getting married somewhere small. Like now it's like it's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we have some really great trends happening
Mm-hmm.
right now. And I think the biggest one is that couples now are making it their own. And by that, what I mean is they look to celebrate in a style that represents them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if they are a more relaxed outdoor type of a person, they tend to choose an outdoor venue. They may have a petting zoo. They may have games out there. They may have barbecue instead of the formal dinner. That's fine. That's them. That's their style.
Mm-hmm.
Another couple may want the fancy ballroom with the elaborate meals. Okay, that is fine. The big trend is that each couple can feel okay in doing what represents them, and they bring a lot of their own personality into that
Mm-hmm.
wedding rather than just go to the ceremony, say I do, sit down, eat, dance, go home.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're finding that the interest of the characters. They may even bring their pets along to the
I've
wedding,
been
and
seeing that a lot.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love the pets
I've been
coming
seeing the
in.
custom drinks. They've been naming the cocktails after.
Custom drinks,
Yeah, that's
signature
huge.
drinks, they call them,
Yeah,
and that's
that's big.
that's a
Yeah.
big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this year is the year of the photo booth.
Yeah.
They are so much fun. There's so many options, and it gets everybody involved. So I would say this is the year of the photo booth.
I would say that the photo booth was maybe one of the best purchases. We have pictures, and we had our friend Jake over at Fat Booth at our event, and Jake's been awesome. He's done other events for us, but he's actually been on the podcast too. But they came to our event, and there's pictures that on that collection of my wife's family with her like older aunts and uncle, and then some niece from another side of the family. There was like 10 people, all different. You would never have gotten that picture
Uh-huh.
if there wasn't a fun little backdrop there to get it, because they're not going to be sitting next to each other when the photographer's walking around.
Right.
But there was like her dad was with my mom, and like all these different people were in the same picture, and they were all just like, and drinks were happening,
Uh-huh.
and it
Yeah.
later and later the photos got better and better
Better
and
and
better
better
and
and crazier.
better.
Yeah.
But some of these, I went to a wedding recently where they have now the mobile booth. So for the
Uh-huh.
older guests that aren't going to walk over to the photo booth, maybe they'll walk around with the mobile thing. Boom, 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 mobile photo booth.
Uh-huh.
And then you have all these memories, and they do the fun GIFs or GIFs, whatever you call them, where you can move in the
Move.
photo and like
Mhm.
confetti is going up. But yeah, the photo booth, and it's one of those things that people think is a luxury expense, and because it's an extra thing. It's an extra thing. I already have a photographer. Why would I need a photo booth? But you need to give your guests, you need to make it flow around. So we put it right next to the dance floor. When you're
Uh-huh.
dancing, you have the photo booth. Oh, now let's go take a photo.
That all
And
goes back to the entertainment of the guest.
yeah.
Big thing to,
And then we get to
really
keep it.
big.
We get to
Uh-huh.
keep it. One of the things I love is the dessert stations and the dessert walls, and like they had the donut walls and all these different walls of like dessert. It's not just a formal cake. It's like, oh, we have cake, but then we also have vegan stuff and gluten-free stuff, so everybody can feel like they're a part of it. Instead of just back in the day where it's like, oh, well, you're vegan, you can't eat this food because we're not changing it. People are more accommodating to their guests. They're making
Exactly.
it a party because they want to host a party for people, and it is about them, but it also is, most of the day is about other people.
That's right.
Um,
Well, and you can add one other thing to that is the food trucks.
Yeah.
The parties at night, So many couples now are bringing in those late night snacks, the
That's good.
toasted ravioli, the cheesecake, the taco bars. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
And, um, they can eat all night long, they can drink, they can party.
Yeah.
You know, the guests are having a good time. And
Yeah.
that's
The late
I
night
think
eats
that's
is
some
crucial. You're always so hungry when you
Yes,
leave. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And then you don't have to worry about somebody drinking and, giving some food so that they
Yes.
have a safe drive home.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
And everybody loves that. We did that too. We did the toasted ravs at the end. They passed them around. Like
Uh-huh.
the caterer came in and they worked all night on that. And people love it because then you're like, oh, even more snacks. And then the party buses and all these different things. And it's so fun. And like my wife, I wish she was on the show with us because she would talk all about all these fun things that it is. But there's also stress. The stress, and it's not just financial stress. It's that's one of the big factors when you're going into this. So the brides that are coming to you, you can be able to show them and talk to people before they maybe get on calls and do all these other things because that's a big thing, the stress. But there's also the mother of the bride stress, and or the mother or father or mother of the groom, or all those different stresses. So is there any advice? And this could be for brides, for grooms. You have your LGBTQ plus show, so you guys are open to all these different types of weddings that are in
Right.
St. Louis. But is there any advice that you would give to people to cope with those stresses, the mental health element that involved in like planning these things?
We
It becomes not fun anymore sometimes.
we actually address a lot of those issues in blog posts. You can actually sort by certain things like mother-in-laws
Yeah.
or how to tell your mother, "Hey, this is my wedding. It's not your wedding, it's my wedding."
Yes.
Okay? Or dads who or one of the stress things that I see more than so much mothers or mother-in-laws, they learn how to handle that is when there's multiple family units.
Mhm.
Who do you invite? How do you relate between the 2? And you'll find a lot of blog posts that we've written about that. Brides who are mothers who bring their children, as they're getting ready. We've talked about that. Get yourself a babysitter. You don't need the stress of taking care of a toddler who's hungry and out of the schedule, crying, and you're trying to have the best day of your life.
Right.
Okay, you don't need that. You
Mhm.
really don't need that. I think one of the things that in the last couple of years that have stressed a lot of brides out is the financial part.
Mhm.
Mom and dad have said, "Hey, we can't help you. We
Yeah.
can give you a little bit." So many couples are having to uh, plan and pay for the wedding themselves.
Yeah.
So you're going to see some smaller weddings, some ways to save money on weddings, and that has been for the last couple of years a really big
The micro
what
wedding
yeah,
is a
the
new thing. Yeah.
right not only micro weddings but have 80 to 100 people but do it more affordably,
Yeah.
still have a beautiful wedding but do it more affordably,
Yeah.
and I think that will continue. um, and one of the things I might say to our brides is when you come to our shows, you have an opportunity to win a lot of things that will help on that budget,
Yeah.
like engagement sessions and photography. In fact, in January, we have over 15,000 in prizes we're giving
Wow.
away.
I
And
saw the honeymoon package.
oh yeah, the honeymoon,
Mm,
dream
we didn't
vacation
we didn't even talk
gets.
about the honeymoons.
Oh yeah, $3,000 honeymoon. Andre's giving out a $2,000 rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
Noble Luxury Brands giving out 2,000 on formal wear. And then every vendor at the show will have a prize that they're giving out.
Wow.
And you have to buy your tickets in advance. We're going to select winners and they're going to be posted in each vendor's booth.
Mhm.
So you can go vendor to vendor and see if you're a winner.
Yeah.
We're going to have 80 winners of something for sure, plus the grand prizes.
Wow.
So
Everybody's giving away something. That's great.
everybody is
Yeah.
giving $100 value of
Mm.
something. It could be a discount, a gift certificate, or a product itself. Um, they're free to do whatever they want, but every vendor will have something. So the opportunity for more brides to win more things,
Yeah.
it's tremendous. And we still have that financial crunch. You want to be able to afford the fun things,
Mhm.
and so there are ways if you win a few things or if there are other ways you can cut back, then and it's all about balance. It's about deciding what's important to you.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity to win, and not only the prizes, but then a lot of the vendors will offer show deals and specials that will
Mhm.
save you, say, 500 off of this or 300 off of that.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous opportunity. If you're one of those brides that need to stretch a budget, a small price for a ticket to really save a lot of money. It's
Your tickets aren't
definitely
aren't aren't too bad either.
no, they're
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
reasonable, and
You have a few different options.
a lot of different options. We do recommend going 2 days,
Mhm.
and I do recommend watch the Facebook because we have posts that will be coming up with specials that will save you money,
Mhm.
little promo codes coming up.
Yeah.
So we never announce ahead of time, so just keep following our Facebook page. It's, Bride St. Louis, STLOUIS.
Yeah. So you guys will see a couple different options there for
You'll be
both
seeing
days.
some options right after,
Mhm.
so take a look,
Mhm.
before the show. There'll be some options being posted.
Yeah.
So,
And then
can
the
save you
DIY
money.
bridal bouquet and centerpiece class, that's a fun
Yes.
one because
Yeah.
people are doing that. We did that ourselves, our centerpieces and stuff.
What we've also brought back this year, we are actually doing 7 shows this year.
Mhm.
So we have our awesome 2-day show, which is to die for, not to miss, and so many brides will go to multiple shows. So we have shows in Washington. So you can't say, well, it's too far to come into St. Louis. We have shows in Southern Illinois.
Mhm.
We have shows in St. Charles. We're even out in Columbia, Missouri.
Yep.
So we brought back this year what is called our Epic Wedding Giveaway. Every show that you go to, you get another entry. The Epic Wedding Giveaway is a $7,500 value. There's a wedding venue that's giving away their rental for free. I have a DJ, complete DJ service, a cake, you don't have to buy your cake, and a photo booth.
Mhm.
That's a big chunk of your wedding right there.
Yeah.
And we maybe add a few more things to it as well. So
It's
the more
amazing.
shows they go to, the more opportunity. And there'll be just one winner, but one very happy winner.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll
Okay?
be cool. I can't wait to see who wins that, and
Yes.
it'd be fun to, like, document that process and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, that will be given away at the March 23rd show in St. Charles. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
that's going to we did a 10K wedding a couple years ago, and it was so exciting because they had been saving for years to have a wedding,
I'm
and then
glad they
to
won.
win that,
Yeah.
yes, it
And it
really
always happens that way, the right people do win.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So you don't have to qualify or anything else. It's just
You go to the show.
come more shows you go to, the better opportunity. And quite honestly, there are different vendors at our show, so you will see a different mix
Yeah.
of vendors and prices.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know, Carol, you mentioned it, but if you guys go to Bride St. Louis, you can see all the shows. So the Washington one, which is great, Southern Illinois, the LGBTQ plus focus show, which is amazing that you guys are doing that and really showcasing a space that needs to be highlighted. Yeah.
Well, we feel that love is love,
Hmm.
and why not celebrate it? Why not help them? That
Because they want to make sure they're working with vendors that
that
do
care about them.
that care.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are some vendors or venues who do not cater, and they don't like being told no. And
Yeah.
so when you come to that show, you know that every vendor there is going to be supportive and affirmative
Yeah.
of you,
That's
and
amazing.
they appreciate that
Yeah.
because they just sometimes have a really hard time putting a wedding together.
Yeah, I'm
So.
sure. I'm definitely
Mhm.
sure about that. And then you guys have your big St. Charles one as well. So you guys can, for those that are getting engaged now, you guys can check that out. But Carol, what's your favorite part about your job? Because this is a job that you fell into. You weren't in this. This is something that kind of was an accident, and it turned out to be beautiful.
You know, I probably should have been retired and traveling the world right now, okay? But I absolutely love show day of seeing the excitement of the brides and talking. I spent a lot of time talking with our brides at the show,
Yeah,
asking them, "What can we do better? What would you like to see? What do you
and
like?"
you're taking those notes and you're
And
you're making those changes if you
we're
can. Yeah.
exactly, and their excitement, and then we get a ton of emails from brides that say, "Thank you. I really appreciated it. I'm so glad that you are here to help us." Um, and during the year, we get emails from brides. I had a bride email me on a Monday, and they forgot to hire a videographer. Their wedding was coming up on Saturday. We have a list of videographers. We quickly emailed and said, "Is there anybody available to shoot on Saturday? I have a bride who totally forgot to hire a videographer." We had her 5 choices to choose from.
Wow.
Okay, we do things for our
Well, you don't
brides.
have to do that. You could have just let that email go, you
Sure,
know? Yeah,
sure,
but
but
you were like, "Let me
no.
help her.
Well,
She's
yes,
struggling. She's probably stressed."
right.
Yeah.
And if you remember when in St. Charles there was a country club that caught on fire,
Mm,
we reached out to other venues and said, "Give us a list of your dates that you're open," because there were weddings that had to be rescheduled. So we could provide them a list of who had open dates.
yeah.
So we really try to be an advocate for the bride to
Mhm.
help her, and whatever she needs, we're going to be there for. And
And that's your favorite part?
that's the excitement of the bride. And I've gone to a lot of these weddings. A lot of brides invite me to their wedding,
Are you
and
serious?
it's yes, I'm
And you
serious.
go? Yeah.
And I go to a lot of them. I've been to over 300 weddings, and
What?
I see
Man,
good.
you have good weekends then. You
Oh
get to
yeah,
have fun.
I do, I do. Now I might not stay through the whole thing, but
Yeah.
the joy and the excitement and the day finally coming together. That's what's so great,
Because you remember
especially
when you first met them and
uh-huh,
they came to your show right after they got engaged, and then now you get
exactly.
to see a year and a half later what
And a
all.
lot of them I get to know, they'll come to multiple shows and say, "Well, how's it going? Did you" "Oh, yeah, I just got my dress from so and so,"
And you
you
remember all
know?
the conversations
Oh,
too.
yeah. I
Yeah.
have a terrible memory. I'm like an elephant, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember those, and
Wow.
there's certain people that just really stand out that, you just feel they were so lost and you have helped them. But
Mhm.
their excitement of having the wedding that they wanted.
Mhm.
Um, one of the biggest questions that we get all year long is they're looking for venues that allow open catering where they can choose their own caterer. A big question because they may have a little, you know, shop or diner down the street that can cater for their wedding. They want to bring them, or maybe they have specialty food. So we put out a list once or twice a year with open catering. They love me for that. Well,
Mhm.
because it is so hard. It's like calling each one. Can I bring my own catering company? A lot of them won't. They have their exclusive
Preferred
vineyards
partners.
or
Yeah.
partners, and that's all they choose. So
Mhm.
we try to be the source for the brides for whatever information they need.
You guys are doing it, and with your team and everything. But as an entrepreneur myself, and I feel like there's a stress from us to perform and to show up. And like you said, you could have already been retired. So we have a partnership with Birch Tree Recovery. It's all about mental health, and
Hmm.
mental health is so important in our industries
Oh yeah.
because what we do is we have to show up every single day. We can't call in sick on January 4th. We're showing up,
Hmm.
for your
Yes.
with the stuff that you do.
Uh
So,
huh.
is there tips and tricks because you've been doing this and you've been in other industries, but like how you balance your mental health while also performing for all the hundreds of thousands of people that want you to show up every day?
I don't know that I have. I think you have to love what you do. I think that really, if you don't absolutely love what you're doing, you're going to think of it as a job.
Mhm,
I do not think of it as a job. The day it becomes a job is the day I sell the business.
mhm,
And I think that is, I get so much joy and inspiration. And I love planning and listening and saying, well, what can we do different? What do the brides want? What can we bring in? That is, there's some long days and long nights. There's no doubt about it. And I, you know, I stress out myself a little bit during those times.
yeah.
But come show day and wedding day, um, that joy on the bride's face, that means everything. And as long as I love what I'm doing,
Mhm,
that's the key to being able to show up no matter how sick you are,
mhm.
um,
Or what's going on in
or
your
what's
personal
going
life.
on in your personal life. And
Yeah.
you have to just put it on a shelf And
And you get to see it in real time. That's what I think what's beautiful about not just being a blog or website or magazine. Like you're actually able to see it in real time. So that probably
exactly.
helps you because then you're working really hard right now. But
Uh-huh.
then on January 4th, when you get to open those doors, then everything's okay.
I
Because you're
absolutely love it.
probably stressing. Like I get event anxiety because like, what if this doesn't work out? What if this doesn't? I mean,
Oh,
stuff's
yeah.
gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
There will.
I tell
You're gonna have your
brides,
walkie-talkie.
yeah, brides, your wedding is not going to be perfect. I'm going
Yeah,
to, that's the first thing I tell brides.
yeah,
The wedding will not be perfect. Something will go wrong. And I've seen it,
yeah.
okay, from forgetting to do the ring exchange to
Hmm.
wrong color flowers.
It might rain. It
Right, it
might do
might
this.
rain. Uh, but don't stress out. Go have a good time. It doesn't matter whether that purple was the shade you wanted.
Yeah,
Go have a good time.
yeah,
It's I greet my brides when we open the door. I'm going to be right there, brides. So come see me. Say, hey, I saw your podcast here.
yeah,
And I'm going to be right there. And if you have a question or a problem,
yeah,
stop me and ask me. I may not have the answer, but I'll find an answer for you.
yeah.
And that's the best part of this is the joy that I get.
Mm-hmm. No,
So,
that's great.
yeah.
So before we wrap up, tell us how we can follow you on social media. Is there an email list we can join? Um, what's the website? Where do we need to go to buy tickets? Because as of people listening to this, you have to get your tickets when you're listening to this. I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to have some stuff at the door, but in order to be entered to win a lot of those prizes, want to get those tickets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's recommended to get tickets early because we pull winners from early ticket purchasers. Website is, and we put the bride first. So think of it as Bride St. Louis, and it's spelled STLOUIS.com. Our website will have a pop up where you can sign up to become a favorite and to stay. We don't bug you a lot, but about every other week we'll send you some educational information and keep you updated on the shows and what's happening. So you won't get spammed from us. And I think that's very important for you to know. There'll be some announcements of open houses and other events. So it keeps you informed of what's happening in the wedding industry here in the St. Louis area.
Yeah.
Our Facebook is just Bride St. Louis, STLOUIS.
Mhm.
Instagram, the same thing. And we've actually started back our X account now. We had stopped for a while, and
Mhm.
we're getting back on that. So
Nice. There's
uh,
so many things. There's
there
TikTok
are so
now.
many,
There's
and
Instagram.
right. And I've just brought in some more team members because there is to keep all this information current is a huge job. And
This is.
so we plan to grow more and bringing in more people. So we also hire bridal ambassadors to help us. So if any of you future brides want to be a bridal ambassador and earn some money for your wedding,
Mhm.
come talk to me
Yeah.
because you can work during the year, help us, and help yourself at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. Carol,
mhm.
thank you for your time. I know it's
Okay.
super busy right now for you. Hope you had a great Christmas and are able to relax for a few days, and then it's go time.
It's go time. Girls, I just encourage you to come on out. I think there are shows and there are other shows, and our show is like no other show you will ever experience.
Hmm.
So please come visit us. We welcome you with open arms. And thank you very much, Lucas.
Yeah, thank you. All
Okay.
right, have a good one, guys. See ya.
Thank you.
Today they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.